Greetings, Commanders, and glory to mankind. Today's Frontier Unlocked was, in my personal opinion, somewhat disappointing. First of all, we were forced to watch over an hour of pre-recorded Planet Coaster footage. And granted, like community manager Phil Week said in the chat, you weren't really forced to watch it. You could always go back and see the video on demand. But come on, seriously. Elite Dangerous deserves its own stream. Or if you're going to do a mixed stream, at the very least, put some timelines out there so that people can tune in at the time they want to watch the content. Like, putting content that people are not interested in ahead could make sense if the content was somewhat related. But a theme park game together with a space exploration game, guys, come on. Please respect your players' time. Put an agenda at the very least, or make a dedicated Elite stream, which in my opinion would be a lot better. But your game, generally speaking, do whatever you want. When it comes to the content of the stream itself, Frontier Development talked about Powerplay. There wasn't all that much that was shed. Like, they reiterated that as far as open only, which is the biggest question pertaining to Powerplay 2.0, it will not be available at launch, which doesn't mean anything. Like, it means we're not doing open only. Like, the fact that they're closely monitoring how, are they going to revisit it at some point in time? Is there going to be a revision at some point in the future? What are you exactly monitoring? That doesn't make any sense. Like, it's basically saying, look, we're not going to do open only. We're going to keep it as it currently is so that everybody can do it solo or in PG. Suck it up. But guys, own that decision. If that's a decision you made, I mean, it's your game. We can debate the decision you made, but own that decision. Just say, look, we're not going to do open only. Like, because this saying it's not going to be there at launch and they say we're going to revisit it later, candidly, I mean, it's not really serious as a way to go about it, at least in my personal opinion. So anyway, open only, not there at launch. With regards to gameplay, not a lot more details, other than the fact that it's going to be connected to a wider range of activities. You still cannot really kick out individual powers, other than, again, something that they said is going to be reviewed as they go, which doesn't mean anything. So, short answer is no, you cannot kick anybody out. There's going to be an additional faction in the Alliance space, which they're going to reveal later, which is fine, I guess, but won't change much. So, all in all, candidly, very disappointing announcement regarding Powerplay 2.0. Powerplay 2.0 really should be open only if you want to make it a meaningful way for people to engage in PvP in your game. Or you can declare that you don't want meaningful PvP in your game, and that's okay if that's the direction you want to go. But say it. Don't give us this, oh, it's not going to be there at launch, but we shall see. That's not respectful of your player base. So anyway, that's my personal take on Powerplay 2.0. Beyond Powerplay 2.0, there was also a video of a Mandalay shown, which is looking to... it seems like it's going to be a really nifty little ship. And in particular, the optional internals of the Mandalay were discussed, and some of the other content creators are talking about specifically what those are, which are pretty reasonable. They're all size 5s, except for life support, which is a class 4, which means the power distributor is better than the ASP Explorer, which has a class 4, although it is not quite as good as the typical combat mediums, such as the Chieftain and the FDL and Python Mark II, which have a class 6. So on paper, this looks like it's going to be less of an ideal combat ship than its more suited counterparts, which kind of makes sense as they declare this to be an exploration ship. But more importantly, they said that it was going to have a bigger jump range than the Anaconda even, which made me kind of think about it and reflect on it for a while. And I'll show you some of the stuff I've been doing here because it kind of made me scratch my head a little bit. Since it has a class 5 frameshift drive, the ship that is the smallest and consequently can be made to jump the smallest, that is the lightest, in that which consequently can be made to jump the furthest with a class 5 FSD, is a Diamondback Explorer. With as much stripped down as I could kind of conceivably get it, not that this is a functional ship, but bear in mind, this is just a conceptual exercise, so let's run with it for a moment. with its maximum fuel per jump of 5.2 tons of increased range and mass manager of the SCO FSD, which is the best for class 5, we get just shy of 73 years light range, right? And then if you slap Guardian FSD booster in here, you kind of play around with it a bit, but you can go up to sort of like somewhere in the 81.9 range, assuming I've gotten my fuel consumption and everything else still as it should be, which I'm actually not sure how it works, but yeah, no, it should be still the same. Like in terms of, I don't think Guardian FSD increases fuel consumption, or does it? Jump range boost. Yeah, no, presumably it does. Anyway, if I didn't get it wrong, like this is roughly how it plays out. So you can get like 81.9, again, paper, like consider this is all like very conceptual, paper jump range on the Diamondback Explorer with a current class 5. The Anaconda, which instead uses a class 6 FSD, and we always joke that the Anaconda is made of some unobtainium because it's impossibly light for its size at a mere 480 tons, 400 hull mass. I mean, this 400 hull mass for Anaconda is like, I mean, to give you a comparison to like some of the other ships to get you an idea, like, you know, look at the Chieftain. The Chieftain has a hull mass of, what is it, like 400 tons as well. So it has the same hull mass of a Chieftain, except the Anaconda is obviously enormously larger and has significantly higher internals. So anyway, the Conda, which uses a 6A FSD, for which the best in terms of jump range is not the SCO variant, but it is the community goal limited version, which jumps a slightly tad longer, which when you solve in, you kind of add the experimental. And this one goes to about 80.24, again, without a booster. If you add a booster, that gets you up to all the way to, you get into power issues when I sort these out, like fix them as you go. I'll probably kind of play around with power a little bit, so it actually kind of works. There you go, put overcharges and anything, and you get to a jump range of roughly 90.5. Again, I think this is with a max fuel per jump of 8 tons. So 90.5 with FSD booster and a class 6 drive. Now let's get rid of FSD booster for a moment, because I should just say, for the sake of argument, like just how this operates with a regular FSD. Like one of the major differences, besides the optimized ratio, which plays with optimized mass of the FSD, is the maximum fuel per jump, which for a class 6 is 8 tons, and for a class 5 SCO, an increased range mass manager, it is 5.2, so significantly less. And that is one of the key components that sort of like limit the ability of class 5 ships to jump as long as the best jumping class 6 ships, particularly the Conda, can do with 8 tons of fuels per jump. So I mean, I was scratching my head and I was like, what would it take for a ship with a class 5 drive to jump longer, as they have stated, than a class 6 ship, which can burn 3 tons fuel more, which not almost twice as much, really, or 60% more fuel on a given jump. And I can't quite fathom it. Like, either they fudge something as far as ships work, or they're going to make the ship impossibly light. Like, the mass of a Diamond Explorer is 260 tons. Like, the Mandalay would need to be, I don't know, like 100 tons for that to be the case. Like something like courier level weight, so made some even more unobtainium type of alloys. Either that, or somehow they fudge some kind of internal factor for FSD. Otherwise, I mean, even if you bring up like optimized mass by, what would it be? Like, I don't know if the ratio is a bit more complicated as you're pretending, but let's bump this up to kind of like, let's add 100 tons to this. So this one goes to 2,000. Note we are at 72.97 jump range. We go up to 77. So we're still shy of a Conda, which is 80 in the same kind of like setup and configuration. So I'm not sure how this is going to work. I'm kind of curious, actually, to see if it actually does play out that way. Because like either they fudge something or they come up with some miracle configuration that I haven't thought of. But anyway, it is exciting to see. And I'm personally quite excited about the Mandalay. Like of today's stream, that's probably the most interesting thing that they talked about more. I have really low expectations for Powerplay 2.0 based on everything they said. To me, it feels like a reskin of what they currently have, which, by the way, I think is already a broken system. So reskinning a broken system for Powerplay 2.0, and by the way, calling it Ascendancy with this kind of roboting title for the kind of new release is counterproductive in my view, because if you're going to do an Ascendancy, like make it kind of a big deal, making it a reskin of Powerplay 2.0, come on. It's just disappointing. So Powerplay 2.0, highly disappointing. Mostly a reskin with truly minor changes of the current system without the actual guts to go to open only, which is further disappointing for a system that is really intended to be the way PvP happens in the game. Not to say that you need to like PvP or need to do PvP. I don't do it at all, so it doesn't affect me. But I do appreciate that those who want to do it want a meaningful structure for it to work within the constraints of the game and not just ganking, which is how it kind of works today, or organized PvP. So yeah. So that's my take on Frontier really unlocked for today. Glory to Mankind, Commander Mechan, over and out.